the
Gotcha.
seed phrase to it, but
Gotcha.
you can't
Right.
go create a
There's like a step
multi-sig.
in between then. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's
I
there's
gotcha.
nothing in between. You can't go create a multi-sig and then give us access to the multi-sig. We need full permissions to run transactions on that wallet
I
without
see.
your interaction and engagement.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So there's two pieces of contention here. There's the NFT, which is valuable
Yep.
and will become more and more and more valuable over time. And then there's the balance of Solana that's sitting in that wallet.
Yep.
That could be quite sizable. And in order for people to partner or share or delegate, they have to trust each other. There's
Well, I
just
think
no
it's just
way.
that. Yeah, I think it's just that simple, right?
There's no
Just
way
don't.
I can get in the middle.
Yeah. How could you? If that's if that's the architecture, there really is no way. So you
And I
just make
thought about it, and I thought I was like, well, maybe I would do like a separate NFT, and we could do a delegation, even if I charge like 5 Solana for it or something like that.
right,
And then there's no way because let's pretend that I delegate one to you, and then
right.
you and I get in an argument or something like that, and I'm like, fuck Joe, I'm not delegating to Joe anymore. Well, now I have to go back to Gary and say, Gary, can you terminate that NFT? Or I have to build smart contracts around all that. Like it creates this whole new tech layer that I
Yeah.
can't, I don't want to solve for.
Well, also that would create the what concerns me about adding a layer like that. That creates opportunities for exploitation too.
100%.
Like big ones actually. Like I can already see. Like I can just play that tape forward.
Yes.
Um, and just people are going to be crying when some Russian hackers like cracked the code on that. So
Yep. And then I thought I was like, well, I could just physically delegate and just do it all off chain and make it
sure,
go on
sure.
chain.
Uh
But
huh.
then I become a centralization point, and then there's still nothing I can do to keep the Solana in that wallet to be fair.
Right,
So I could maybe protect the stacker agent, but I can't protect the hundreds or thousands of Solana that wallet's accumulated.
right, right.
So I thought about it. I used AI and I said, can you help me come up with a way? And it couldn't solve a way that could keep me out of the middle of it because I don't want some weird shit to happen. And I'm on vacation in Thailand and someone has to call me to reverse delegation to a something.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to be
You're
bothered with
also
that.
you're
It's
also making yourself liable to. You're like that's also just putting you in the middle of
Yeah,
something,
exactly.
where you could be in some again, money makes people funny.
Yep.
You
Yep. I don't want
yeah,
to be in the middle of it. I
right.
don't want to play there. I think it's amazing. I've talked to multiple people. Multiple people are thinking about groups or delegation and stuff like that. I think it's a really cool idea.
Just make sure
Um,
you trust the person, even
yeah.
if and the kind of trust that, look, if you this is one thing I've learned. If you haven't like been able to solve some kind of conflict with a friend, that person isn't your friend yet. Like if you
Right.
haven't been able to disagree on something and get through that together, then you guys aren't friends yet.
Yep.
So, make sure because like you should be able to have frank conversations with your friends. You should be able to disagree and like not have that destroy the relationship. So like if you haven't had that, do not go giving your stacker to that person if you don't trust them.
Yeah.
Like make sure it's someone you really really trust, make sure it's someone you've been able to disagree with, and you guys are still okay.
Yeah.
um
You come up with whatever agreements and whatever partnerships and opportunities you want.
right,
The problem gets into running the stacker agent because you do actually have to like configure it and set it up. And when there's new
sure,
skills, you have work to do there. Just like managing an LP, it's not completely hands off.
right, right,
For the most part, it can be pretty hands off, but if it goes out of range or if this or if that or if that or whatever,
yeah.
you have to go
You
in there and you have to do stuff.
there's yeah, there's configuration, yeah, there's managing, like you said. You
And
need to
that's
make
just
sure you're within the range and all that shit.
and that's the problem. I think some of our people that maybe own a stacker agent, they don't want to manage them.
Right, right,
So they have
Yeah.
to find a place or a person or a partner that they trust to manage that for them and a way to split revenue with that. The smartest way to me, if I were going to do that, I would do a 50-50 split.
right.
So
Yeah.
I would say I bring the stacker agent, you bring the capital. It has to be at least this much capital. So it's your money, it's my agent.
Yep.
We split the profits 50-50 every time we take a dividend. Well, that's not fair. I'm the one that brought the 20 Solana up front. Well, you know what? I brought the stacker agent and
Yeah,
I do this
exactly.
without the
Yeah.
stacker
Yeah.
agent. And
Right.
if the
Right.
stacker agent person, like to me, at some number like that, it starts to become fair.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then what I would do, and what I've recommended anybody that's talked to me about it, is you do it for a period of time. And you say, let's lock in a 6-month deal. Right. So for 6 months. And then at the end of 6 months, you evaluate and you make a decision. And whether you want to continue or you don't want to continue. Because then I mean, I don't know, maybe somebody saved up enough to get their own stacker agent. Maybe
Yeah. That
somebody doesn't
feels.
like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But at 6 months, you're able to at least date for a little while before you get into this multi-year marriage.
Yep.
And if it works, then great. Maybe you renegotiate the fees. Maybe the person that says managing, maybe they're saying, man, I'm spending like 15 hours a week tweaking this and managing it and learning about it and all this stuff. So I'd really like 60%, and you're just fully passive income. So I'll give you 40. Would you be willing to do that? And I think it creates an opportunity to renegotiate. So obviously I don't need to be in the middle of that, but it's just ways that I have ideas. And then JJ,
Yeah.
what were you thinking with what you were doing with the group that you guys put together?
Yeah, so for us, it's that part there. It's getting it from someone's wallet to to the actual protocol to the tech, and then also taking the gains out and then distributing it. So like that step there, like I can't solve for. But what we're leaning on doing as a group is doing like a 20 FT collection. There's 13 of us, and each one of the NFTs would be will represent one share of the 120. Um, the next step to that is a multi sig wallet, but it still doesn't also. So, like for example, if I'm the designated representative, I need to have the trust of the group to allow me to hold the stacker agent in my wallet, or when it's time, transfer from multi-sig to my wallet to then go ahead and deposit it. And then when it's time.
I think we lost you there, JJ.
Yeah, I don't hear him either.
Yeah, I think you rugged. It wouldn't need to go to JJ's wallet though. It could go multi-sig straight. Stacker agent will have a
Well,
wallet address.
you could. I was gonna say there's ways like for their situation. I feel like there's what you could just do NFTs like he's doing, and then just kind of have it all go through like a smart contract workflow where it just.
I mean, you can snapshot and airdrop NFT holders if you're only dealing with 20 people. It's really
That's what I'm
cheap and
saying. Yeah,
affordable.
easy. Yeah,
It's really
yeah.
cheap and affordable, but it does take a lot of trust
It does. Yes, it
because
does.
one person has to have access to the stacker agent. It has to
You
leave
everyone's got to trust that person.
right,
That's the
that one
key.
person.
Yeah.
And if that one person says fuck the group
Yep.
and dips to
Oh
some
God.
place with no
Yeah.
no legal recourse
Right.
with a stacker agent and millions of dollars, then there's nothing I can do to stop it. And I won't do anything to stop it.
There's nothing you could do. Right. Yeah.
There
I mean,
is something I could do. I
well,
mean,
you would
It's not.
fuck
It's not. It's
everyone.
not. It's not your responsibility.
right.
It's that, and it shouldn't be.
I never felt good whenever OpenSea would disable NFTs when they were stolen. It
I don't like
always
that.
felt
Yeah, I don't
it
like that.
felt
Yeah.
too centralized to me. It's like
Yeah.
one
I don't like
person
that.
or something reports it's stolen and now it's disabled and it can't be traded
And it
and
wasn't always a stolen asset as well. Like they would false flag things all the time.
yeah, and they would
There were a
also
million of
they
those.
would let
Yeah.
it trade 2 or 3 times or 2 or 3 days and it would trade around 40 or 40, 45 different wallets and then all of a sudden it gets flagged in your wallet and you just paid for something that's now flagged as stolen.
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
I don't want to be in the middle of any of that, so I'm not going to be. So if North Korea hackers get a stacker agent and start using it, it just is what it is. Unless I get a government order to shut it
Right.
down, I'm gonna let it run, and that's just what it is.
Which
But
you know
JJ,
what they might.
yeah, and they could, but JJ, what I was saying is it would never need to go to your wallet. It could go multi-sig directly to Stacker Agent. Stacker Agent will have a wallet, and it's really easy to snapshot and airdrop people based on NFT ownership. So that's really easy tech
Oh,
online.
so then my question is then changed. So right now, if we deposit the asset, the stacker, into a multi-sig wallet, then the majority or however many signers that need to approve can sign to authorize it to be deposited into the tech. Now, is there any kind of auto setup where the withdrawal, the earnings get deposited back to that original wallet,
Nope.
or would it be
It
configured
can be
that way,
sent.
or does
Nope.
that take a button?
It takes your trust because
Yeah,
you're going to have the
exactly.
seed phrase to your wallet.
Yeah, but that is good to know. But it confirms what I thought. There's still that one step
There's
of
two pieces.
human needing to be involved. What's
Well,
that?
yeah, there's two pieces. You've got to send the asset into Stacker Agent. So when you go and create a Stacker Agent, it'll create a wallet for you, and you will have to send your asset into that wallet. And when your asset gets that wallet, or when that wallet gets your asset, then that will be the keys to your Stacker Agent, and it will turn on. So without it, you're just sitting there with an empty wallet, and it won't do anything at all right now. So okay, great. And that tech's already built. So great, we turned it on for you. We tell you it's on, and so you have access to that. It's your Telegram account. If your Telegram gets hacked, you're exposed. Um,
Yikes.
it's your access. I don't care that there's a group of a billion people or 20 people that own it. That's nothing to me. It's ever who has the Telegram access. And when we eventually get into an app and stuff like that, it's ever who has the login credentials there. And you've got problems if you share the login credentials with multiple people, because then if they go in and start tweaking stuff or clicking buttons and looking around, it can mess up everything. You've got problems if you don't share, and it's all on chain. You can track it all, but if I'm not saying you would do this, JJ, but if you have access to it and all of a sudden it's sitting there and you hit a home run and you make $40 million, you might say, fuck it, I'm dipping, and fuck you all. And there's nothing, I mean, legally, then your partners could come back if they have a written partnership agreement, I guess, depending on the jurisdiction that they're in and all those things. There's nothing that could stop it from, literally if someone wants to cheat the group, there's a lot of ways to cheat the group.
Yeah,
It's kind of like
there
if
are.
someone wants to break in your house, they're going to get in your house. Your door locks are not going to keep them out,
No.
right? It just keeps honest people honest. The chain keeps honest people honest.
Yeah. Yep.
But we're going to do so many high frequency trades. It's possible you can come back in and scan it, or you could build some tech that would come back in and scan and look at every time that Solana was sent from wallet 1 to wallet 2. But you have to really learn the blockchain at that point in time. You have to know how to
There's
write some
going
code.
to be enormous temptation on whoever the group's rep is. And, that person just needs to be solid, period.
And the other part of it is, if, like, I'll give you an example. When we did the group buy for the gas masks, and I said 20 Solana, I mean, there's probably some people that are in the gas mask that would have been tempted to sell Giraffe at $1,000, because that's a lot of money compared to what we originally put in. But I didn't, because I said we were selling them at 20 Solana. So that's the other part of it, is someone in the group, like the group could say, we're going to let the balance get to 100 Solana. And then every time it's at 100 Solana, we're going to take 50 out. I'm just pretending. I'm no clue what you do, but I'm just pretending.
Sure,
And if
sure.
that's the case, half the group may say, well, we want to roll it to 200 Solana now because we see how good it's working. The other half the group could say, we want our money.
Yep.
Where's our 50 Solana at?
I'm not
100.
opposed to pumping the price up to a higher number personally. Just saying.
But
I mean,
that's when you have
How,
personally,
partnerships, you have to figure that out.
how are
Because
you going to do it, by the way, JJ? Are you guys going to do it one man, one vote, which is good because you have an odd number, or are you going to do it based on shares? One share, one
We're
vote.
doing. I think we're doing it one share, one vote right now, but there are multiple people with multiple
see,
shares.
if
So
it was
So
if it was me, JJ, I would probably come up and I wouldn't do one NFT per person, because I think I would try to fractionalize my shares a lot more than that.
yeah, that
So,
probably is a better way. Yeah.
like, for example, if, let's just do round numbers, and let's say you raised 100 Solana, I would probably do 1,000 tokens. and give everybody their fair share of the 1,000 tokens. So 10 tokens for every one Solana, or maybe I would do 100,000 tokens, and I would do an SPL token, not an NFT.
Yeah.
And then when I go back in and snapshot, I would snapshot based on how much they hold, which would let people vote. You could then set up a normal, literally, you could set up a normal DAO at Realms. It's free.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
anything you need to vote on, like somebody could go in and propose and say, I propose we take profits. And it would be up to the group to vote on whether you take profits or not. Right? The group votes yes, fuck it, you take profits. That's part of, even if you didn't want to, that's part of you being part of a group. It also gives somebody the opportunity if they wanted to sell those tokens or move those around in smaller quantities rather than having to vacate their whole position.
Correct.
And people would just do
So
that over the counter versus because unless somebody set up a liquidity pool for
somebody could set up a liquidity pool. Somebody
them.
could look at it and say, look, this stacker's cooking.
Hmm.
We're going to take these 100,000 tokens, or maybe you do 1,000,000 tokens,
I
right? Or
I
two
would
million tokens,
encourage you
whatever.
to. Yeah.
Right. And
Right.
there's no liquidity pools or anything like that now, but maybe in the future your group says, well, let's take this and let's now tokenize this. And I mean, it's already tokenized, but let's build a liquidity pool and let's take some of
Yep.
our profits and go set up a 100 Solana liquidity pool with some of these tokens. So if any of us ever need liquidity, we have instant access to liquidity.
It's right there if someone needs to get out. Exactly. It's right there.
And if somebody else wants to buy in, well, they
Yep.
can buy in. um, even if you set up a one-sided liquidity pool first and set it up at, I don't know, let's just say it's $100 a token, and you set up a one-sided liquidity pool with $50,000 worth of USDC, then nobody could ever buy your token and get access to your group unless somebody
That's right.
sells.
That's right. Yep.
And then once they sell, then it would start to build up the other token, and you would build up the other side of it. Very similar to setting up, one side of which is Gary on one side and nothing on the other side. Kind of like a bonding curve at that point in time,
And
but
maybe even
one setup like that.
one thing you could do too is everyone in the group buys maybe one everyone chips in to buy just one SPL token, and then you guys burn that one just so that it's like never kind of like what you did
You never
on
go to zero.
yeah, exactly, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying, like and so you did it on that one site. I can't remember the name, but you know what I'm talking about for that one
yeah.
pool.
There's a lot of ways you can play with that stuff.
Ovals.
Yeah. Ovals,
Once
that's
you
it.
start
Yeah.
to set up your pools and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Um, but I mean, I think that's a little down the road before I would set up any liquidity pools and worry about balancing a token
Oh
and
yeah.
building a
Oh
token.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But then it becomes, as a group effort, if you get a lot of copy traders copying that, then all of a sudden that token starts making more and more money. People
Yep.
might want access to buy your token because you have a tokenized stacker agent,
And
and
it,
that's
it
one
could
way
be a
they can
new stream of
circulate.
income. Yeah.
100%.
Yep. Yep.
So I would probably look at this and say, what would it look like if I did, 1,000,000 tokens or 100 million tokens? It's dirt cheap to mint tokens on Solana, less than $1. And you've got an SPL token, it's yours, and then you distribute it out equally based on how much everyone contributed. And now everybody's got, instead of having one NFT, they could have 800,000 tokens that represents that one NFT. And then they could dilute their shares over time if they wanted. They could trade them over the counter right now if they wanted. If General says, fuck, I didn't even know that existed, I really want some exposure, and Zazie says, well, I'm willing to sell a little bit of my exposure for a
Hmm.
profit, then Zazie might be able to recoup everything she's already put in order to get the profit back. Right. And now she's playing with house money. And that's fine.
That's
So
right.
I think at that point in time, other than the trust, you've decentralized the asset.
Well,
And
and you
then,
can even down the road add layers to that too.
well, and
So
what I would do in the DAO, though, and let me say this, Joe, and then you can come in, is I would let the DAO vote for who they delegate the access to.
right.
And I would let the DAO and the token holders choose to change that. But I would set up the DAO specifically to where people had to have enough coin, because if not, somebody will come in and rob you. Somebody will come in and they will buy a bunch of your tokens. They will say that they want to be the delegate. They will get access to the token, the stacker agent, and then they will sell it or own it, and you're out, because all they had to do was put in a bunch of money to grab it really quickly, and now they own the token and they can just floor all their assets.
Right.
So we have stuff set up at the Gary DAO where only council members can do certain things, and there's not many council members. Like if it's there's not a lot of assets in there, but we keep everything in a different multi-sig. But you just don't want the DAO to be able to propose something that wouldn't work. You want to make sure that a couple of people have enough tokens to veto anything that wouldn't work. Like if Joe came in and said, I'll propose that we change the name of Gary Club to Joe Club, I would vote no.
I would vote no too. Sorry, Joe. I don't know how to
Yeah,
tell you.
so I
Eh,
mean
Sorry.
fuck you guys. Fine then, whatever. That's what I was going to propose.
but if Joe came in and said, I want to take full control of the stacker agent and I don't know Joe and he's brand new, I would still vote no, even because I don't know him and he's brand new. So just
Right.
protect your asset at all costs.
Yep.
And then what were you going to say, Joe? You could go a level deeper.
Well, I was first off, like a lot of these things would just be things that I would straight up be proposing if I were in that group. I would like just from day one, I would, yep, let's do the NFT, let's fractionalize this, let's burn a couple, all these things would just be kind of like house cleaning things. I think you guys should get on top of right away. But what I was gonna say, like down the road, because there's things you guys could do just fuck, I gotta, there's things you guys could do just to make little bits of like passive income, again, like the LP. Again, that's gonna be down the road, like, little ways down the road to do that. But then you could also, what I was gonna say is you could add layers to that where you have like, who knows what's gonna happen 2 years, 3 years down the road. I'm thinking this is gonna be wildly successful, obviously, and so do you. And with that, I'm saying, you guys could have layers on top of those in those coins that you mint. So, you could even do like a secondary layer where you further fractionalize it. So right now you have your first, let's say you guys do like 1,000 tokens. Another year goes by, you could add another layer on that where one of those tokens you fractionalize another 1,000 with, so like that first token becomes dollars, the next token is the cents, right?
I think it gets really complex to do that, in all honesty.
It would, but it's
I
just
think
a
it would
way
be
you could.
easier and clearer to just calculate for several million tokens right now, even if you did 100 million. And
That would just
just
create dust, right? What Joe was saying would kind of create dust.
yeah, and then if somebody gets
Cents, right?
disengaged
Yeah.
because they thought it was mailbox money, then you've got to track them down, and it just creates complexities and confusion. And I think you would be better served to personally to do a larger quantity of tokens, even if it's 100
From
million
day one, right?
from day
Yeah,
one, and just everybody gets, I'm just going to pretend we've got 20 people, we got 100 million tokens, everybody gets 5 million tokens. And well, those 5 million tokens, there's no liquidity, there's no path to get cash, you can only do over the counter. But what we do is we snapshot those, and that's who gets the airdrops based on how many of those tokens you have. And then
that's
from there,
definitely cleaner. That's definitely a cleaner way than what I'm saying.
right, and then from there you can choose as a group how you move going forward. You could go set up, I would 100% go set up a DAO at Realm. It's free. I mean, it costs a little bit of money to initiate, but it's not like you have to pay monthly or anything like that. And I would go set up a DAO at Realms, and I would do voting on everything that happens there. And I would establish a few people that are going to be the key players. I would vote for who the delegate is. I would vote for when you take distributions and profits, all of those things.
Just
I would, if you got to do a capital contribution, I would vote for that.
yep.
If you're going to do a cap call at the beginning for everybody to deposit into Stacker Agent's wallet, I would do, I would vote for that and figure out what the cap call is. And I would just do everything there through voting on chain.
Vote
And
for like your lead rep. Vote for 3 or 4 board members.
Mhm.
Just vote on everything. Just make everything a public vote. Like vote, like you said, vote on what the cap call is. Everyone needs to put in 10 soul. Or
Yep.
whatever you guys decide on.
And then you don't have to worry about it.
Yep.
There's no, like nobody can come back if you go to our DAO. Nobody can come back and say anything because it was voted on, and you can see who voted and how much weight they voted, and you can see everything about it. Right, every single thing about it. You can see right now. Like I just went and looked. There's no proposals open, so there's nothing open right now. But I can see like When Dr. Power requested 40,000 carry coin, it was voted no. I can see when we wanted to launch a school for Gary Club, it was voted yes. We had all these different proposals over time, and you can see it. Like even when we did a Christmas gift last year. So at Christmas, we gave out 100,000, 250, or no gift. And we came back in, and as a community, they voted to give out 250,000 Gary coin to everybody that locked their coin.
Nice.
That was not my choice; it was the community's choice. That was at that point in time. That was about $12,500. Today's value, that's about $65,000
Right.
that we gave out at Christmas last year, just as a bonus to the people who locked their coin. So I didn't have to choose. I just got to go propose, and then the community got to choose if they wanted to do it or not. And I think that that keeps you very clean, and that's one of the beauties of, decentralized assets and delegation and being able to vote and have a voice and have ownership in something.
This is creating an interesting question for me, Gary, because I've been one of these people who I definitely thought, in like 2021, I'm like, oh, this is it. DAOs are going to be how everything gets done from here on out. And I was way wrong on the timeline because I was thinking, by 2025, like just everything will be a DAO. So obviously totally wrong about that. But like what JJ and company are doing here raises an interesting scenario because you've got a group of people, right? You've got 13 people here. And it it is by nature going to have to be centralized to one person, right? So like they're going to have to elect a leader. So again, for sake of argument, let's say they are going to elect JJ. Um, wouldn't this end? Okay, so it's going to end up reverting right back to like what we have with a joint stuff, like with a corp, right? With where you're going to have a board and a CEO. So JJ will eventually just be the CEO, and then they'll elect, a 5, 3, or 4 or 5 person board that he kind of answers to, and then everyone else is just like a shareholder. So did the DAO just create a redundancy? Is because it looks like it just reverts right back to that. Uh,
It kind of does,
it
and
does,
most
huh?
people are not interested in voting.
Right, right,
Most people, what you have to understand about crypto is most people are here as an investor, not as a user.
right, right.
So most people are buying the token because they believe, for whatever reason, that that token will appreciate in value in the future. The other thing that most people don't understand about Web3 is there's two ways to launch a token here. Way number one is you sell it to the community, and way number two is you give it to the community.
Yep,
If you sell it to the community, right, if you sell it to the community, then they have an expectation of using that token most commonly within your ecosystem, and it's a slower grow. That's what we did. We sold it.
yeah,
We didn't, I mean, we've given you opportunities to farm it,
sure,
but you had to have
sure.
some to start with.
You had to buy, yeah.
Right. But you had to buy Gary Coin to get started. Where airdrops like the Solana name system, SNS just announced an airdrop today. I get thousands of tokens because I have some SNS names.
Oh, nice.
What
Okay.
what they're doing is they're rewarding their users because of the venture capital that they got.
Mm-hmm.
So that's their way to share their VC round back with their community. So they say, hey, audience, thank you for doing all this stuff. You helped us make a shit ton of money.
Yep.
We just raised a lot of money. We're going to give you these tokens at a very nice valuation. Hopefully, you keep them and you're involved in governance. We want you to help us
Yep.
govern, aka DAO. But in
Yep.
reality, we're just giving you a gift and sharing back some of the wealth because our investors, our VCs, they want those tokens too.
So what it really comes down to then, you guys have heard me share, you've heard me say it a million times, Gary, like the whole reason I got into crypto is just from a more philosophical perspective. I just liked this, I like the idea of decentralized power. I hate the idea of centralized power. So, I'm
Right.
fully on board with this place from day one on a very philosophical level. So I guess what it is most people did not come in with that in
No,
mind.
they're investors.
Right. Right.
And the people who want decentralized power, they tried to start their own project, and most of them failed
Right.
because it's really fucking hard to run a business, and it's really hard to run a business in an innovative piece of technology.
Right. Yeah.
It's just hard to run a
It
business,
it's just
period. I
hard.
mean,
No,
it
it's
is.
just, I say it all the time. I'm like, you look, it's hard for it was hard for me to run a construction company where, for better or worse, I was the dictator. You know,
Yeah,
where like my say is law and my word is law, and it's like it's still hard to get everyone on board when you have that kind of power. Now do it with a DAO. It's, herding cats.
and
So
most people don't. Most people are here just to invest and make money.
right, right.
And that's why most tokens go to zero, because most tokens should have never originally been launched.
In the first, yeah, right, in the first place, yeah.
There's no reason to have most tokens. The theory that was promised was rev shares and all this stuff, and then
Mm-hmm.
it got gray and muddy, and
Yeah.
is it a security, is it not a security, and all of these things and all of that, right? So it got weird, and now we're starting to clean some of that up, but that was kind of the thought process that everybody had was, well, I own a pudgy penguin, so now I get a share of the revenue that the company makes.
Yeah.
Well, you don't.
No, you
You own a
don't.
collectible.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I own Pingu token, so now I get a share of the revenue that they make. Well, you don't. You own a token.
Right.
And if that token goes up in value, that's amazing. You made money. And if it goes down in value, well, that sucks. You made less.
Yeah. And if
It's like
you
a
You lost
stock.
stake,
It's
money.
like
and
a
if you
stock with no dividends,
stake it, then
basically.
you get
Hmm.
governance.
Right.
Well,
And it is like a stock with no dividends,
right.
sort of. But
It,
it's also not a stock because it's not
Yeah, yeah, I know.
related in any way, shape, form, or fashion to the performance of the company.
correct.
And so let's be honest, sometimes stocks aren't either.
Right, they're not. I mean, like
Sure.
GameStop pumped. Like
Sure.
GameStop pumped. It
Yeah.
wasn't because GameStop was jumping in revenue.
Right. Right.
It pumped because it was a meme stock.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it had attention, and people wanted to buy it, and they wanted to flip the culture,
Melvin
and
Capital.
that's
They wanted to shit on
right,
Melvin Capital. Yeah.
and that's what happened.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time. So it's just energy. And when you really learn about that, it's like, well, most people don't care about your utility. They're buying it because you have utility, and they tell you they need utility because they want you to grow your business enough so your customers will buy their tokens. That's it.
Yep.
That's why you're buying the tokens, because I want your customers in the future to buy my tokens. Well, that just doesn't work because most businesses fail. Most protocols fail. Almost everything here doesn't need a token. There's
Very true.
very
It's
few
true.
reasons
It's true.
why you need a token.
It's true.
That's why I built reasons
And
to
it's a
need a token.
road to hell too, by the way. By the
Yeah,
way, it's a road to hell. I watched a very success dude, everyone remembers Creeps in 2021. That project was fucking banging. They had their like Lumi coin. That thing banged for 3 days, and now it's like, do you see anyone wearing a Creep PFP anymore? No, you don't. So my name was Crypto Creep Joe for a long
it's
time,
because all the people only wanted gains.
That's right.
And when you hear there's a token coming, you buy the NFT so you can get the airdrop, and you think you're going to make more money. It usually doesn't work out that way, but that's what you think. And once the airdrop's out, the energy left because the people that were there for that reason, they go to the next project,
Right, right. And now
and,
and
and they
now
move
that
on.
liquidity's gone, that energy's gone, everything's just kind of gone.
Yep, you still have your NFT, but the floor price starts to drop
That's right.
because there's no reason to keep buying the token. And then everybody says things like, well, we have the best community, and you're going to be connected with the best leaders, but it's not
It's
true.
every single time. Yeah.
It's
Right.
just not true.
The utility is the community, man.
But it's the community is. I've never found a community. I bought into the apes. I bought into so many communities. I never found community.
Right.
I found a lot of people that own the asset. Some of them have big fucking pockets.
Sure.
And all they were doing was worried about the way the asset was going to move. The community was such a small little slice of that.
Such a small
Like the
slice.
true believers, the ones that round trip their board apes to 150 ETH. Those are
It's
the community members.
it's so small, and most of them, by the way, the second the boat rocks would shit on any other community member, in 2
Well, they're the
seconds.
ones that they're also the
It,
ones that bought one. They held their one. They round tripped it, and now they feel that everybody in the world owes them something
right,
because they
right.
kept it on as their PFP the whole
Yep,
time, and they round
yep,
tripped their ass out.
right.
And they only have one, and they're not buying anymore. So the project's not making any more revenue from them, and they've got a pain in the ass, quote unquote, shareholder that just bitches all the time.
Yep, right.
And they won't sell it because they're like, well, shit, it went to 150 once, it might do it
It
again.
might go up again. Yeah, right, right.
So most tokens should have never existed. Most people give zero shits about governance.
It's
And I
so
mean, even
true. It really is
Jupe has
true.
to reward
Yeah,
governance, and Jupe is not a DAO. Jupe is you can vote on what Meow proposes. No one else can submit a proposal to the DAO. It is not a DAO.
right,
It's
right.
vote on it's corporate
Vote on my ideas. Vote on
corporate
my
voting.
ideas. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it's exactly right. It's
Yeah,
corporate voting.
yeah.
And I for us, I didn't want to build it that way. I wanted to build it to where anybody could submit a proposal that had enough tokens and they can. I do own enough to vote, and if
You
you don't
do.
like
Yeah,
that,
right,
come buy my tokens.
right.
Like if you don't like that, I mean, honestly, just come buy my tokens.
Sure. Yeah,
I'm going to sell them for probably maybe I don't know, maybe hundreds of dollars a piece. And if you want me to not have them, then come buy them. But other than that, I'm just going to hold them and I'll keep voting because that's the way the world works. Um,
but that
and
is that is though that is how it works.
It
That
is.
is.
It's
Yeah,
it's how our economy
yeah.
works. Is you get to vote based on the number of tokens
And
that
if
you
I
own,
don't
and if you
like
want
it,
to,
then I can go buy your shit. It's
yep.
that. It
Or you
really
can
is
sell
that
your shit
simple.
and,
And
or you
leave,
can
or
sell
I
your
could
shit and leave.
leave. Yeah, right.
Yep. You can say fuck it, I'm out. This is not for me. Or you can hold your shit and just go be quiet
Yep.
and don't have to ever tell anybody you own a giraffe. You can move them to a whole different wallet and just wait until
And
they
just yeah,
they
right,
pump to $1 million
right.
and floor them on our ass and show us who's
And
really
show
involved.
you. Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
exactly right.
yeah.
And there's nothing that anybody can do to stop it. It's decentralized.
Right.
And that's where I think that we want to go eventually. It's going to take us a lot of work to get there. We want I want everything we build to be as decentralized as possible. I put as many things up for
Well,
vote as
well,
I can.
I feel like you have that same philosophical bone as me. I
I
can
do.
tell. I can tell. Actually, I can tell. Just the way
And
you
that's
talk.
what you
Yeah,
want to find. You want
yeah.
to find someone that kind of believes that way.
Right,
And whenever
right.
you're in a
It's
community, you
why
want to
I'm
find a
here.
founder that
Actually, yeah,
believes that
right.
way
It's
because you align with, not that you agree in everything that I say, but you align with most of the core thoughts that I have.
right, right,
And even if you don't agree, you could probably at least see my perspective. And
right.
you may have a different perspective, and that's okay. You might even be right, and I might be wrong. And if you are, then I'll just admit that and
Yeah,
say, Joe, you were right, and I was wrong, and I'm sorry. And next time I'll listen. I've said that many times in our community. That doesn't that
it's
doesn't
not the
bother
end of
me.
the world. It doesn't bother me
I have
to say I don't know something. You know what I mean?
I have
That's another.
no ego about this. I just
Exactly,
want to win.
exactly. I just.
That's it.
Yep. Same
I
here.
want to win, and if we
Same
can
here.
find a way to win, then that's all I care about, and
Right.
I want to win together. If I
And
didn't want to win together,
that by the way is rare. It really is because most people would rather be right than happy, or would rather be right than more wealthy.
well, I
And
mean, I can tell you, Joe, I could have done this without us winning together. I could have went and built Stacker Agent for myself,
right, of course.
and
You
I
you
could
could
have
probably be
used it for
using it right
myself.
now, actually.
I could
Yeah.
use it for myself. I could make a lot of money, and I could host big ass parties. I could go sweep my own floor. I could put market makers on my project, and I could have pumped my bags bigger than they've gone so far. And I would have never had to release the tech to anyone else. And I know that's how it works. If I said we're in Dubai hosting a big party and we're in Singapore hosting a big party and we're going to this conference and hosting a big party, everyone would want to have a giraffe because they would want to be part of the giraffe parties.
Yep.
If I hired market makers to run the giraffe floor and run the Gary coin floor, all of a sudden we would be trending everywhere. Everybody would be buying it because we would have the cool vibe. Everybody would want to be part of what we were building here, and I would have pumped our bags way bigger than what I've done right now just by me going and getting rich myself.
Right.
But instead, I want to go get rich with you, and I want us to all win together. Right? Because the only way you would have won then is if you would just keep buying the stuff. Like the only way you win with Bitcoin is if you just keep buying it. But here, right? We've got a lot of ways for you to earn the coin once you're involved in the ecosystem.
Yes.
You can
Yes.
just keep earning. You can keep playing the game. We're giving you the tech that will let you literally just let you go earn Solana. It has nothing to do with us. We make fees, but other than that, you just earn Solana. We're going to win together.
Well, again, that's just so again, just the thing we have here that I, again, I've been in this space for a long time now. I'm a seasoned veteran in the crypto world, and I have yet to see any other place where you have a reason to hold other than buy now to sell later. You
And
know?
that's what I wanted to build.
Yep.
I wanted, like, my biggest challenge was why would you ever hold the asset? I can't tell you that the community's cool because it's not cool enough yet to get you to hold an asset at $100,000. Right? It's not cool enough yet. It's not that
We're
expensive
not there
yet.
yet.
It's not
Yeah.
that
We're not.
right. It's just
We're
not.
just not. Yeah.
So how do I get you to hold? And the Ponzi of me giving you rewards doesn't work forever if we don't get buyers, because that dries up, because then you're just circulating the same liquidity.
Yep.
So how do I get you to hold? And the way that I came up with, and I'm not saying there's not other ways. I tried other ways. They just didn't work. But the way I get you to hold is I'm building technology that the keys are the tokens.
Yep.
And if you want to use the technology, you have to own the tokens. They're your keys. If you don't want to use it, that's okay. Well, why do you buy Gary Coin? Because you believe that there's going to be thousands of agents operating on Solana buying Gary Coin in every single transaction. You
Yes.
believe there's going to be hundreds of thousands of transactions of Gary Coin. You believe that the value will keep going up as we grow as an ecosystem and a community, because the more agents we deploy, the more transactions and the more volume and the more value will be built for Gary Coin.
That's
And
right.
that's what you believe. So that's why you buy Gary Coin at 25 cents above the 1,000 that you need in order to operate your agent. Right? Well, why do you buy a Giraffe? Well, you buy a Giraffe because you want to operate your agent, because you believe that you don't want to trade time for money anymore, because you believe that in the concept of what it means to be giraffish. You've looked at that. You want to stand tall. You want to, be a giraffe in a place in a world full of sheep. You want to march to your own beat. You believe in freedom, and that's your symbol and your sign of that. Just the same way as you may go buy a Rolex or a tag watch or something like that, you buy a giraffe as your representation of that for you. Or you buy a giraffe because you want access to the tech. Or third thing is you believe in the mission so much that you want to own some of those seats in the mission because you believe you'll be able to sell those to other people in the future for more money. And one of those three reasons is why you buy a giraffe.
Well, and
I
it's
don't
and
know
it's also
anyone that
why you
owns
hold it.
one.
It's also why you hold
I
it too. Yeah.
exactly right. I don't know anyone that owns one for any other reason than that.
Yeah.
But I do have to dip. I've got a call at the top of the hour, and I need to go make an espresso.
Get out of here. Go get some coffee. Thanks for popping by,
And I
man.
will talk to you guys soon. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Is that Gary?
Oh man. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Were you gonna say something, dude?
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
I just was on mic,
oh, okay.
mumbling to
You're
myself.
not working today, huh?
Oh, not today. No, not today. No. I do have a shoot tomorrow, and then meet up with you on Thursday.
Are you gonna tell us what show is about to come out?
Well, what the show? I don't even know what the show is called. It's a first season thing. So they just asked me to come and fill in a couple days on the show.
I thought you were
Nothing.
weren't you doing that one summertime or something show? What's that show? The summertime one or something like that?
The Valley.
The Valley, that's it. Yeah, the Valley.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've worked on that quite a bit before. So, but this is different. You know how the nature of
Yeah,
freelance
yeah,
is.
yeah,
It's
totally.
like
Yeah.
you get a phone call, and I actually had like three different shows fighting over me this week. It felt kind of good,
Oh,
you know.
nice. Yeah, that always feels good. Yeah.
But luckily, like you know how it is when it's a small industry, like everybody knows each other. So I'm like, oh, I'm already working for this person. They're like, oh,
Oh, all
okay,
right.
we'll feel
Yeah,
like everybody knows everybody, so they know that you're working on this thing, and they're like, everybody tries to make it work,
dude. I
so everybody
always try to
wins. Yeah,
explain this to people, and like
yeah.
maybe JJ, maybe you can relate to this with New York, but like, dude, like
Everybody knows
LA
everyone.
is a small city.
No, a small
It is
city.
a small, like people don't get it. Like it is a small city. Yes, there's 17 million people here. Yes, but we all know like everyone knows everyone. Like you
At least in your industry,
and
like
yeah, and if you have a
yeah,
bad
like
reputation, you're fucked in this
you're.
town. You are
Oh yeah.
fucked. because you're
Uh-huh.
like your reputation precedes you everywhere. So if if you did something shady in one job, like everyone knows about it.
I
Everybody.
actually heard the other day that somebody that I personally helped destroy moved out of the state because they couldn't find
Yeah,
work
exactly.
anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, like
exactly.
it made me so happy to hear
Dunk.
that I completely destroyed their career.
Dunk, you're so
Because
vindictive. That's horrible.
no, no, trust me, if you knew this
No,
person,
I'm sure. I'm sure
you,
there was good reason.
they, they should not have any kind of authority over another person's safety. Let me put it that way.
So,
It was bad. It was bad, but it gave me a warm feeling the other day when I found out that she moved away.
Jonathan Dunk, ladies and
You you you
gentlemen,
you
there he is.
you probably could have just called OSHA.
What you like exactly?
Might have sufficed.
That's a good joke, JJ. That's a you make. Wait, are you serious? No, not in this industry.
I always kind of wonder that though. Like I do always wonder, is New York like that? Is Chicago like that? Or is it easier to just kind of like
No,
just hide?
it's not like that at all in New York.
Right. I didn't think so.
Yeah, no,
I have a feeling that if you're in the film industry in New York,
I
I
mean,
bet it
sure,
is.
sure, sure. Like, cause,
Sure, in film, but film that's different though.
but
Yeah,
I'm talking more in general though.
but
Like,
yeah,
even
yeah, yeah. In general, like
even like that, like even in like construction. So like my dad is a union organizer, like for the laborers. Like even in that realm, like you're always meeting fucking like new laborers with all of the like
yep,
non-union work that you're trying to organize and like all types of shit. Sure, like the same developers who are trying to go non-union in a prevailing wage like job, like those become the common actors. But like in generally, it's pretty easy to get lost
it's easy to
in
get lost there.
New
Yeah,
York City. Yeah,
I
right.
bet. Well, because you know what too, because I feel like New York too also has a lot of turnover. Like people go and live there 2 years and then move away. You know, I feel
Yeah,
like LA has more of a stickiness to it, where people
yeah,
kind of they come here to live.
yeah.
And
That I mean, yeah. And I'm like I'm trying to think like even if you fall into a regular routine, and by that I mean like you catch the subway at 7:11 every single morning, not 7:08, not 7:13, but the 7:11 train, right? Like
yep,
even when it comes down to that, like there's like sure you'll see like a handful of individuals that like like you recognize over time, but like even down to that minute, like it can be a car full of like new people that you've never seen ever in your life. It's that
I get it.
insane. Yeah.
yeah, I get that too. Yeah, just like these spaces, you come here, same faces every day. But if this was at a different time of day, it'd be different
Yeah.
faces. I guarantee
I
it.
also haven't worked professionally or ever like in New York. Like I graduated university. I lived with my girlfriend. She's my wife now, Bianca, for like 6 months, and then we moved to Delaware. So I was like never like a working professional
So you met
in the city.
Bianca in school?
Yeah, in college. Yeah, my freshman
Nice,
year. Yeah,
nice.
my freshman summer. A funny story. If I have a couple minutes.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Go.
so we both belong to Greek organizations. Like I belong to a Latino fraternity, and she belongs to a Latina sorority. We go to school two different states. So she went here to University of Delaware, and I was upstate Binghamton University. But our organizations were founded at Rutgers University in New Jersey, 1 year after the other. So my organization was founded in '79. Her organization was founded in '80. So naturally, our organizations have a tight knit history. So eight,
Uh,
8 out of 10 times, no matter which campus you go to, like our two organizations, like the vibe attracts the tribe, right?
gotcha. Yep,
So
yep.
it's kind of one of those. So I became a member. We each became a member of our organizations. We both pledged in spring 2008, and that summer, so summer of 2008, my fraternity was throwing a New York Day parade like after party, and up in Washington Heights, where it's like predominantly Dominican, and so I'm like 18 years old. I roll up to the bar like, yeah, this is my frat throwing the party. Like, let me in. And then this motherfucker's like, yo, like, where's your ID? And I'm over here naive, like, yo, like, what the fuck you mean? Like, I just joined the organization. I thought this is a perk. Like, I'm part of the organization. Like, why you ID
Yeah,
check me or
right. Yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
And so like one thing led to another. When I gave him my ID for the third time, I put a 20 behind it, and I was finally able to get into the bar, right? Um, so I'm doing all of this. I then have my ex-girlfriend from high school coming to meet me there. She lives around the corner. And so I'm outside because I'm cool with the bouncer now. I need to like let my
Let her in.
underage
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah.
so
Right. I
so
got you.
I'm waiting I'm waiting for her, and Bianca shows up with the her sorority sisters from my school. So it's her organization, but my school her the chapter at my school at Binghamton. So they're part of the same organization, but Bianca is a sister from University of Delaware, and these sisters were from Binghamton. And again, because of our history and how we
Oh, you're rugging.
so
Come back. You're rugging. Come back.
they all right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yep. Yep. Now I hear you.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
now I
now.
Hello?
can. Yep.
All right, good deal.
Gotcha.
We can hear you now.
So the sorority sisters from my school introduced me to Bianca right then and there, and we say hi. They get shuffled in. I'm outside. I finally come in with my ex girlfriend. She shows up. The bouncer lets her in. And then we get our first round of drinks. I'm sitting down at like it's a lounge. I'm sitting down. My ex girlfriend is sitting on my lap, and Bianca comes over and pulls her off me. It was like, hey, like my sorority sisters, my line sisters said like you're a pretty good dude. Like I want to get to know you. And like she pulled
Oh
one of
my
those, and
God.
yeah, we started talking, we started vibing, like we exchanged phone numbers. That lasted for like 15, 20 minutes. And, I went then my thing with my ex, that only lasted for the night, if you know what I mean. And then, I hit up Bianca and was like, yo, like yesterday was pretty gangster. Like, like I like that kind of energy. Like, show me more. And at this time, like I'm a freshman. She's practically a senior getting ready to graduate, or maybe she was going into her senior year. And then yeah, we did like the long distance relationship thing, like me at Binghamton, her at Delaware. That's probably 3.5, 4 hour drive. It was rocky. We were
Oh
young,
yeah.
and we were in Greek life, but ultimately, we kept finding each other, and here we are many years later. So it's a pretty fun story, man. I
Right
love
on.
sharing
Yeah.
it.
That's
And,
a good. Yeah, it is a good story.
according to her, she thought she was my cousin, and I'm like, whatever you got to tell yourself. But there's no reason why my cousin will be sitting on my lap like at a bar, like at a party like that. Like just weird energy. But it's funny. It's definitely one for the books, man.
I love it. That's great, man. That is a good story. Yeah, I never. Well, I didn't go to college, so I was obviously never in a.
You
What
went
do
to
you
the
call
school
those,
of life, man.
fraternity?
School of life.
But what I did do, because at 18 I was just I was a full blown alcoholic by then. I would go to the fraternities parties, so that was always fun.
Oh, that's what
Yeah,
I'm known for back in the like back home in East Harlem, like Spanish Harlem, like back in the hood. Like I'm the one who brought like beer pong and flip cup like to the hood. Like
right
after
there.
that first like that like the first bro, literally the first break. College started like in August, and I think I might have gone home for like October, or something before Thanksgiving. I came home, I was like, bro, you guys are not gonna fucking believe this. And I try to hustle, the homies or whatever, like in beer pong and shit. But I got my ass deserved to me, handed to me, because I try to play them up, because I was semi-pro at this time. I had a couple of weeks, at this game, and you got
Right,
all these newbies, and you know how it is in the hood. We're not shooting craps or nothing like that, so fuck it, we're gonna put money on this game. And I'm like, fuck it, we're gonna put money on this game, and do one of those. And I put my money where my mouth was able to cash the check, but we had to go down to the bodega, and I had to hit up the
And go hit the
ATM.
ATM. Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, no, super fun. But yeah, I'm that guy. I'm the one who bought beer pong and
I
flip
love
cup
it.
like to the hood. Yeah,
I
man.
love it. Yeah, that's a game, I always played to lose. I never really played that game to win. But yeah,
Now you play to win for bragging rights, and the longer you're on the table, like obviously you're not getting shut out, so it's longevity. Like if I'm going like 8-0, like not only am I talking shit and I'm on fire, but I'm fucked up at this time because I'm the eighth round in.
oh
Plus,
yeah,
I
definitely.
got you always hold your own cup, and you take shots in the middle and all this,
Yeah,
but
of
nah, it's
course. Yeah.
fucking. I don't drink anymore, but yeah, man, fucking fun times, man.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, same here. It's a lot of fun. By the way, hey Dunk, did you post up JJ's thing?
Oh yeah, let me get it.
Can you
I thought
grab
that
it
you
for
got
me? I
I
didn't get
kept
it.
on getting rugged. I thought you got grab it. I'll grab it.
Yeah. Normally I use that so I can get caught up, by the way. So
Yeah, let
Mm-hmm.
me know how you guys feel about this week's thread. I switched up my workflow just a little bit. I'm testing like a new note taker. So let me know if
what
you guys
what note
vibe.
what note taker do you use, by the way?
I was using Otter for a
Otter.
while.
Okay.
Yeah, and what I would do with Otter was my workflow included this motherfucker's being a dick in the drive. Oh my god, I hate fucking drivers like this. Fucking
Yep.
privileged motherfucker. Um, sorry, fuck. Um, I use Otter, and then I would run like my notes, my Otter notes, and the transcript through um like it's summary thing. I'll have it like issue me a summary, and then have Grok make me like an update, and then I tell
Okay.
it
Okay.
Hey JJ,
kind of
are you
what
just
I'm
putting your
supposed to
phone
do.
up against? Are you just putting your phone up to Otter? Is that all you're doing? Or you actually have an account and you're importing?
No, no, no. No, I'm streaming live from like watching the stream live and having it transcribed now. So ones I guess.
And
Okay.
then he's putting it into
So
Grok
I'm
to
using my
make his like
laptop.
points and
I
stuff.
I I I know.
I like
I'm
that.
thinking that
I like
I
that.
I'm
Okay.
I just you could there's ways that you could get the file off of X that I know of without having to put your phone up to a computer and live
Well,
transcribe it.
I'm
Just
trying.
saying.
So the reason
Well,
why
I'm not.
I
I'm not. So I'm not. I'm using only one device. I'm just using my laptop. So I'm running stream and the note at the same time from my laptop. If that
Okay,
makes
well,
sense.
but you have to be quiet for that.
Um.
You have to be
Yeah. I mean, I'm
it's
not.
you're
I'm
just
not like.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm not like cheering Gary on like in your point, I leave my laptop open, and I like close the room to the office, and I'm getting the boys ready or some shit, for whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
then I come back in, and look at the notes, but I'm listening to on my phone or whatever. But no, I'm doing it that way, and then now. I'm using this other note taker now called Granola,
granola.
granola. Gary shared it. Yeah, Gary shared it in our content mafia chat, and so I'm using that one now, and that one has a pretty nicer, I can command it and have it actually do the thread for me, and so I'm testing. So that's what I'm testing now. I'm still having Grok kind of add like my voice to it at the end, but like the bullet points are coming right from granola versus me dumping the information into Grok and having Grok do everything. I'm doing everything from Granola, so it's taking notes, it's it's transcribing, and then it's also creating the thread for me, and then I'm just putting that into Grok to match my style a
So
little bit
see,
more.
all right. So I'm reading your thing right now, and the reason I wanted to read it, I wanted to see if you guys had anything in here on, what just like what direction we thought rates were going to go tomorrow. But I don't see anything in here about it. Did you guys touch
Yeah,
on that
no,
at all, or?
No, I think there's one point in there, and I may lose service now because I'm going into a dead zone to
Okay.
Carline. But there was one point in there, and Gary only made one point of it, which was that tomorrow the decision is made about 2
Right.
p.m. Eastern, but around lunchtime tomorrow will indicate where is usually a good indicator where we're going to end up at 2 o'clock. So if you start watching the markets around lunchtime,
Okay.
around noon Eastern Standard Time, that will be a good indicator of where the
To kind of pick
consensus
up
is going to
direction.
lead to.
All right. Cool. Yeah, you're starting to rug pretty bad. Yeah, dude, you're in the matrix now. But I heard you. I heard you loud and clear if you can hear me. Um okay, well good. Yeah, so guys, like whenever we have like whenever there's rate announcements, the market is always very reactive to that. Like like hyper reactive to that. So, you know, obviously if we get, a decrease, we'll see a nice little pump. I named the space today the calm before the explosive pop because I'm hoping that Powell will lower rates tomorrow. I it doesn't make sense why he wouldn't. Inflation is pretty much under control, so there's really no reason to raise them or even keep them up. So hopefully we get a nice little pop tomorrow. Um, that's what I'm hoping for. And I noticed in the notes it was saying try to avoid like leveraged positions. I think that's very wise advice, by the way. So if you
Hey,
like to,
hey, Joe, can you hear me right quick?
yeah, I hear you. Yeah,
Yo, before I rug again to that point, we went over poly market. I don't know if you know
yeah, yeah,
poly
yeah.
market
Poly
at all.
market. Yeah.
They're calling for it to be relatively stable, relatively staying like no
Oh,
change.
no change.
But check
Okay.
that out.
Okay.
Yeah, check that out. Yep.
Good to know. All right. So yeah, in poly market, it does feel like they get it right a lot of times. So that's Jerome Powell just being a dick. Because he basically the administration has been trying to force him to lower rates for obvious reasons. But I think there's like a battle of I think there's a personality battle happening between Jerome Powell and Donald Trump. So it's like it's the African proverb, when the elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. We're the grass, and those two elephants are fighting right now. So hopefully, because the thing that sucks is, like it really should be lowered to like just kind of help, but it doesn't. It's like not even about that now. It's just like a personality thing, which sucks. So um, hopefully we get good news tomorrow because that'll really give us a good pop. Um, I've noticed in the last like probably week and a half, 2 weeks, we have added um, a half trillion in market cap. So we were down to like 2.45 trillion, total market cap, again, across all blockchains. As of today, as of like right now, we're at 2.94. So we're edging back up to 3 trillion market cap. That's great news, that we've turned that around. Again, I mean, we have a lot to get back to where we were. Like if you just go back just to Christmas time, to like the end of last year, early early to mid January this year, we were at like 5.8, 5.9 trillion market cap. So, we basically need to double to get back just to where we were. Um, you know, I do feel like we're on that climb. Um, so if you look at it, this is where there's some opportunity, guys. Like if you just look at the blue chips, like the big, the Soul itself, just like look at like the big high volume coins. This is where there's some opportunity, um, where you can just like pick up the rise of the tide. Because I think we're totally out of that, just kind of devastating dive that we were having from like the end of January until about 2-3 weeks ago.
And
Where
there's opportunity to in that volume.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like we
Yeah,
have
yeah, I mean, like today we had
massive.
the dip in Solana. Like it was 150 just the other day. I believe it's going to at least go up to that amount. You could have sold at 150
Well,
and then bought back. You know what I mean?
here's
Hmm.
the real like here's the real alpha play. Okay, is we're gonna so Solana will end up. So here's what I think. I think July, August, we'll be back to where we were. Like I think we'll be back to um, you know, at least five, if not, inching up to that like 6 trillion level. So say in July, August, we're there. Kind of back to where we started. We've like recovered from all those, deep losses. That doesn't mean every individual coin itself will recover. So if you had, some coin, don't, you had some meme coin,
Yeah.
like don't think like, oh, that meme coin is gonna pop. Like don't do
There's no
that.
liquidity there to
Yeah,
recover.
yeah, don't do that. Um,
Hey, but you know what everybody here could do right now is everybody here we're talking about Stacker Agent, but everybody here has Stacker Agent GPT for free. If you have the $20 plan for ChatGPT. So there's go and analyze these charts. Go and take the opportunities, right, Joe? Like
yeah,
it's right there,
yeah.
free, free.
I mean, if you just like the Stacker GPT is fucking amazing, man. I love that thing. The Stacker GPT is just absolutely mind blowing. Um, how right it gets it too. I mean,
Yeah, and like I was looking at it this morning and like I was going like, hey, there was the dip in Solana. Do you think it's going to dip further? I had it analyze everything and it took all my metrics and I've like good. So I bought some more. But it gave me exactly how much more it thought it could potentially dip and how it could reverse. Like, dude, I could do that all myself, but that would make me have to use my brain.
yeah, you'd have to
So,
really use your brain.
ugh.
Well, look at what's
Mm.
amazing to me, man, is like if you pull Gary up, pull up the 1 hour chart on like CMC or something. Um, dude, we're like look at that like the moving average 7 on that is like wild, bro. If you look at it, it's just making like straight full on W's. Um, like we just kind
And
of
that USDC pool
well,
helps
that's what
with
I'm
that.
saying, man. We keep bouncing back and forth between like 25, like 25 twenty
25
nine,
cents. It's
twenty
like
five
I
twenty
think it's
nine, and
2.5.
25 and like 25.70. It's crazy. Or
And there's a lot of
25.60.
opportunity there.
There is, and it's like reliable. If you look at it, it's just like a W. It goes up to that limit, then back down to that limit, up to that limit, back down to that limit. It's only like half cent, but I mean there is, if you wanted, that's the problem. You don't really want to like swing trade low volume coins like Gary, but it's creating like a very predictable pattern is all I'm saying. So and it's right now, if you look at it, it's right now starting to do its like kind of like its top limit right now. It looks like 2571, 2570 right now. Man, look at that 90 days number, 462%. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Did I rug?
Oh,
Dunk, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
I was talking to myself. I was having a great conversation with myself. It was great.
oh, you didn't press the mic. Okay.
Yeah, I was having a great conversation with myself. It was you'd not believe how good it was. Yeah. No, I was just saying like a stacker agent. Did I say like uh, the stacker agent? When people started talking about it, or when Gary really started showing like the data in January, that's when the coin took off, and it's just because people are actually seeing the data, the actual data, and not just like what
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
people out there like, oh, this is what we get. They're selling dreams, and we're selling actual data that is coming to fruition, which is different than pretty much everything out
Well, I
here.
love that first 24-hour period of paper trades. That I love that chart. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's just a great one to look at
Mm-hmm.
and see that shit. What up, Gino?
Gino, happening.
My Dutch brother.
Minute, so I came here to say hi.
Good to
How's
see
it
you,
doing?
dude.
Good to see you, man. You just missed Gary. You'll have to listen to the replay. He was giving a bunch of like gold, you know.
And he always does. He always does.
How you been, man?
Yo, Dunk, when was the last time you read his book, The Clubhouse Creator?
That I did what?
That you read his book, The Clubhouse Creator?
It's I gotta reread it. I got a whole stack of them right here.
Bro, reread it. It's insane how he's still doing everything that he describes there,
Mm-hmm.
only then just slight pivoting.
Oh,
But the core values and the
mm-hmm,
core line, like the red line, it's there.
mm-hmm.
That's insane, man. That's insane.
I'll I'll
Oh,
give it
Jilly,
a
thank you.
reread.
Bring me one. Bring me one, Dunk. When you come
Okay.
over tomorrow or day after tomorrow, bring me one.
Yep.
I
Sure.
ordered one on Amazon and they canceled my order for some reason.
Yeah, because they're they're all sold out, obviously.
I guess so. Yeah, they're they just canceled it. I was like, what the fuck?
Mhm. I also got the audio version.
um,
Yo,
Remember
bro, I
we got all
got one
those rally
signed.
NFTs. We got all those rally NFTs that are just gone now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hey, Gary gave everybody a NFT for every pre-order because he was
oh,
wanted to
nice,
get on those lists. So
nice.
I bought a stack of them for him.
Love it. I
Well, I
love
gave
it.
away quite a few of them when I went to Puerto Rico because I went there. I brought a few of them with me, and there was a lot of people that were like, "I don't have one," and I'm like, "Here, just gave them."
Did you know
I
I've written 2 books?
did you write 2 books?
Yeah,
Send me
I've
your
done
names,
I've done 2. Yeah.
bro.
One
I only
one I did
read 2 books in my life, and one was the Playboy, and the other one was the Clubhouse Creator.
nice. One was a Playboy. One that's hilarious. Yeah.
Those are the only two books you've ever read, Gino?
But those were good. But Joe, what books did you write?
So one is just it's construction based. It's real estate construction based. It wouldn't be something you'd want to read. It's again it was very much aimed at construction. And then the other one was like a like a calendar, like a 365-day positive mind,
Oh,
abundant,
that's fun. That's
yeah.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like a
So
tear off calendar.
yeah, like a tear off calendar, exactly. But
Yeah,
so each day would have a page, and there would be just some kind of spiritual wisdom, just some spiritual wisdom, like abundant mindset growth type stuff,
that's awesome, man. That's also great if you only got one page. Like for people that struggle with consistency, they can learn that there and then
That's right.
with the wisdom you share, man.
That's right.
That's good. Send me the name of that book. I want that book.
I'll DM you. I'll DM you.
Awesome. I got to run again, guys. I was just stopping by to say hi,
Oh, good. Good
and
chatting
I'll
to you.
catch you all soon.
Good to see you.
Sounds good. See you, Gino.
See you soon. Bye. Woo. What's up, Bearded? See you up there here too. If you want to chat, you're always welcome to join in. What
Hey, how you doing?
how you
What
doing?
up, bearded? Bearded.
Good, good. How's it going today?
Another day, dude. Another day.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to survive right now. Just trying to make it through one day at a time with my leg right now.
yeah.
I mean, I could cut it off for you. Like I have a chainsaw.
I might need to. I might be looking at amputation. No, I shouldn't joke about that because I kind of am. So, no, it's just it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Well, if it comes to that, I could save you some, medical bills. I can handle it for you. You don't have to worry. I'm
Thank
qualified.
you, because they are expensive.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I have a lot of tools here in the garage. I've got
Hmm.
that chop saw. We could use the chop saw. It's a little
And
rusty though.
we'll put a little bit of like booze on the blades and stuff. It'll be great. It'll be fine.
Man,
Nice and sterile.
if for any other reason, I mean, we're just blessed to be born the time we are. Just for
Medical.
I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, like
That would
had
be.
I been born 100 years ago and like had happened what I'm going through right now, it's a death sentence.
Hmm.
It's an absolute death sentence. There's no antibiotics. There's no, you're just that.
Hmm.
That's it. That's it. You got unlucky. You got unlucky. You got an infection, and now you die. It's like brutal, dude.
You would be like the old wise man right now,
Right.
your age. Like you'd be
Exactly.
like, how did he live that long?
Like did you know he's 40 years old?
Wow. How did you do it, man?
Yeah. Right. He's 40.
What's his secret?
Yeah.
He still got all his hair.
Yeah, man, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. And like that wasn't even that I was thinking about that. That wasn't even that long ago. Like my grandma who came
Hmm.
over from Portugal, okay, and she lived to 95 or 94. She
Hmm.
yeah, she would have been 95 that year. Um, but like, like I have this picture on my phone. Well, you've seen my phone. You see I have that like black and white image on my phone.
Hmm.
That's my great grandma, the one who came over from Portugal. That's her getting married at
Hmm.
I think she's 14 in that picture. And it's just like what did this wasn't even that long ago. I knew her. She died
Hmm.
when I was 12, and like she got TB early on in life. Again, like
Oh yeah.
no one
Hmm.
gets TB. No one gets TB anymore. Like that's something that just doesn't exist.
I,
And
I haven't had it. I've had many tests.
yeah, right. Well, for some reason we still test for it. I don't know
Well,
why, but like
I've worked on shows
I think it's like
in
a
medical.
regulation where they
It's a
like
regular.
make
It's
you
a
do it.
they
Yeah,
make
yeah.
they make you do it just in case because it could if you have it by
Right.
chance it could really screw a medical office up. So
Right.
like yeah, if I ever work on any show that you're in like a medical office, then they make you do the test.
Yep. No, I know from working on hospitals.
They
I
pay
same
for
thing.
it, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, they make you do it's a they
It's like
inject you with that
a
thing.
little bubble.
Yeah, it's a little bubble thing they inject you with. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so like they it's crazy like all that stuff, like she went through again, like someone who I know, like in living memory, lived at a time, she lived through the Spanish flu,
Hmm.
the Spanish flu of like 1919, and
Yep.
it's like that, dude,
The
that
post World
killed a
War One
lot of people.
the post World War One flu.
Yep.
That's basically what it was.
Killed a lot of people, man, a lot of people. And that's something now that like we just because we have clean water and regular food, like we can we're fine,
And soap.
so yeah, and soap. Yeah, like Right, like it's just
Like
it's nuts,
so many
man.
things that we take for granted that didn't exist 100 years. Like I,
Well, like even like surgeons didn't wash their hands. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
like they didn't wash their hands back in, they'd like
you know,
do an amputation and not like
yeah,
clean their
exactly.
hands.
They didn't know, but and the funny thing is, like, you could relate that to exactly what we're doing right now and like financial stuff. People like bank systems and stuff like that. They act like this is the way that it's always been,
Yep.
but it hasn't
Yeah.
been that way for very long. It's just that it's all that our generation knows because it's all we've ever known, and that's why I say, like, once we like what we're involved in now in Web3 and DeFi and this entire ecosystem, and once that becomes the thing that people, once it, where it's going to be more heavily adopted now, we're getting to that point, and there's people that are going to be born now or even a couple years that they're going to be born, and this is what they've always known. They've
Yep.
never known anything else, and so they're going to go into a world where that is finances and the
Yep.
whole that what they used to do it differently. That's crazy. And then there will be like 100 years from now, which I believe that what we're involved with right now will have evolved obviously by then and grown, but it will still be here. I feel like this is the financial system that will continue
Okay, Dunk.
indefinitely.
What I keep saying here is this. So what I was just talking about, right?
Hmm.
I was obviously just talking about, hey, I think we're at the beginning of the 2025, like this 4-year cycle bull run, right?
Hmm.
Like, so, and which kind of lines up with the
Usually,
other, with the,
it,
last cycles, by the way.
yeah, exactly.
So, so, what I keep saying is like, this is going to be the last, like, human driven, like man driven
Hmm.
bull run.
Yep.
After this, there's no more human bull cycles. So what is that even going to look like? Or will there even be the boom and bust cycle anymore? I don't know, because maybe,
I think the psychology is important,
well, it isn't. That's what I'm
and
saying. That's
but
what I'm
I'm just saying,
saying. And what
I think
happens when
psychology.
there's no
I think
psychology from humans
well,
and there's
but
just like
the
strict logic?
the thing is that there will be the strict logic, but it will be all manipulation to manipulate the way that people think. Like, it's going to all be fabricated. That's
Okay,
what way I see it.
so then does that mean we have a more, so hold on, because then that would actually argue for then the boom bust cycle becomes more extreme.
I'm just saying it's controlled. So with the people that are swinging the bag that can cause the influence, can take, even if it's like a stacker agent, and go like, okay,
Yeah,
stacker,
right.
go in here, and we have the power to manipulate when we feel like it. If we feel like it's time to pump our bags and take the mark, like, cool, I'd like us to go up 1,000% this year. I'm just going to do it. You know what, it's time to collect some. I'm going to start the bear run so I could start collecting more assets. I stabilized my coins. Now we're gonna, now we
We
triggered.
create our
Mhm.
own, like our own
we
bear
we
trap.
create it, and the thing is that there's
Right.
the what's going to happen is you and I and people here understand that that's going to be happening, but there's the average person. Like, I talk to so many people about what I'm doing, they don't know the first thing, they don't understand. They honestly like, oh, that crypto thing, is that still a thing? I'm like, dude, are you not paying attention?
Dude, see, this is actually what concerns me though, man, because like people don't realize
What's happening?
what is going on right now. Like, because the thing, and dude, it's not just like people who aren't in this room,
Yeah,
it's people even in this room.
yeah.
Like people who are in this space even do not realize the, like, I don't even know what to compare this to, because this is going to be like, it's literally going to be like being alive in like the 1870s, like the 1840s to 1870s, where you see the world go from horse powered to steam power,
Hmm.
and you're like,
I mean,
like
you and I have even
you
seen
see
that in
the
our life
railroads
already.
getting built
Joe,
and
you and I have already,
industrial.
like, in our
Yeah,
life, we've already
yeah,
seen that.
but this is going to be bigger than that. This is going to
Yeah.
be because so the internet and computers obviously changed the world in, you know ways that I couldn't even sit here and enumerate with you. But this is going to change like the way AI is going to impact, like it's going to impact the very fabric of society, like the actual,
But not
w-
everybody's gonna understand why it's happening, is my point.
we have forever,
People aren't as self-aware as you give them credit for.
we have forever, we like you go to school not to learn, right? You go to school to learn how to work in this system, right? To get acclimated to this
100%.
system that we have,
Yep.
and play within inside those rules. Well, those rules are all going to change, and like people aren't going to be working 8 hour a day jobs. Like there's going to have to be some kind of system of UBI. There's going to have to it, necessarily there's going to have to be a very very big change. Like this is going to be revolutionary is what I'm saying.
I'm just saying
Where
it's not going to be even is my point, I guess.
well, of
It's like
course not, of course it never is, of course
there's going to
not.
be the people like us that understand what's happening and we take advantage of it, not in a
And
bad
then,
way.
and then the people like me who know it's coming but don't take advantage of it
Yeah,
come in poor and leave poor. Oh man.
nah, you're going to be on top with the rest of us, man. But you know what I mean? Like I could talk like if I have certain people in my life, right? Like friends, family, that I am making sure that they don't miss what's happening because I know how big it is.
Yeah.
And I care about those people enough. That's part of the reason why I bought extra draft, in all honesty, because I have people that I've pinpointed. I'm like, these are the people that I want to make sure that they do not get left behind. This like even people like like call them coworkers. They're not really cowork. You know what I mean? Like films. So they're not coworkers. We're like family.
Right,
So,
right.
um, so like those people, I'm like, I tell them like I got like they're like I got you. Like, and I even yesterday when I was on the shoot, I was talking to somebody like one of the cinematographers, and he's one of the people that I've been helping for a while with it, and he's like, have you talked to this person yet? I'm like, yeah, I've mentioned to them. They didn't show that much interest at the time, but I still got them. You know, like they don't know what they're missing, and I'm not going to let their short-sightedness stop them because I care about them. But
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I can't do that for everyone. I have like a list of people that I'm making sure don't miss this opportunity. And like beyond that, I'm sorry I can't do this. I can't give it to 8.1 billion
You
people.
can't save the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
exactly. You can't save the world.
I have my list of people that I'm like I look at the and
Same thing.
I've
Yeah.
said this with like complete like without a blink like without blinking. I look at
And
this
look
like
at it's like,
they look at me and they're like how's it going? I'm like I'm gonna be a fucking billionaire. And
mm-hmm.
they're like what they look at me like I'm like they're like what? And I say and you're gonna be a millionaire.
I love it. I love it. Yeah,
And
it's
then
true. It's true, man. Like I do believe we're going to see a lot of millionaires created in this very room in the next year. It's gonna
I hate
happen.
to say I think I'm crazy enough to push for the B. So
Mm, could be done. It could be done.
I think that I have a
You
big
swing a big enough bag,
well,
you
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 swing
can
that
do
big
it.
old bag, and also I'm like the way I'm not just talking about just crypto. I understand that when you have assets that you could leverage those assets to basically go and acquire more assets that
Yes.
actually earn you more money. It's like,
Yes.
but you never sold the asset. It works in crypto. You can do it for between crypto and real world. We were talking about this the other day about like you could even take out like the loans and then you go
Yep.
and invest in something else. I was literally walking out of a back lot the other day and I was like, I wonder if I'll buy something like this soon. Like like a lot like entire little studio. Like not like a little sound stage. Like I'm like this is like my before I was going like I'll buy a sound stage. I'm like nah, I'll buy a studio. You know,
Right.
like that kind of thing.
Just buy it. Well, you know what? You're actually gonna be able to do that relatively cheap because all these studios are freaking out
I
because
thought
guess
about that
why?
too because
AI.
I know. And I like I mean there's still work, you know what I mean? There's still work. It's just
Of course.
it's gonna
Of
pivot
course.
and change, but there'll always be stuff created here, you know. But
Of course.
they are these studios are
No,
really
these
good.
studios these
Like if
studios
anybody
are
doesn't know, these studios
frantic right now.
these
Yeah.
studios royally fucked themselves over the last
Hmm.
year. I cannot
Hmm.
stress that enough. They are worried because there's not enough people like me that are still in LA. I'll put it that way. They
Well,
scared off.
everyone left. Everyone
And
left.
now
That's the problem.
they're trying to
Yeah.
figure out how they could fill. We're about to have a thing where there is an insanely amount too many jobs right now. Like
Yeah.
it's we went from a period of none
Hmm.
to we're about to enter into a wave where I see it already starting. There's going to be too many jobs
Well, with
and
the
not enough.
strike and all,
Uh-huh.
like, just so many things scared people off, and now,
Well,
yeah,
it
it's all
wasn't
fucked.
the biggest part of what it was, and it was I 100% blame the studios. Not like, granted, it was the ripple effect from the strikes that caused that, but
Sure.
the a huge part of it was that they look at the bottom line and nothing else because they only answer to one group of people and only one group of people. Nobody else matters but the stockholders.
Hmm.
Nobody else is important but the stockholders. If they could show that they are in the green for the year, they don't care who
Well,
they
that's
have
their
to step over.
that's the thing, though. That's the thing, though, Dunk. They're legally obligated to
Yep.
that, though. That's, that
So,
is their obligation.
yep. Fiduciary obligation.
Yeah.
Uh, but my point is that what they did is they kept on pushing shoots, and everybody's gonna love this, by the way. If you don't understand how this works, there's this little thing when you lose money in a business, you could write off tax liabilities. So all of those losses that they had over the last 2 years,
Right.
everybody, if you were in the United States, you paid for it. You
Yep.
paid these studios massive amounts of your tax dollars so
Corporate
that they
welfare. Yep.
basically but they had the option to go and shoot stuff and they chose to just sit on stuff and not do
And let
anything
it lose. Yeah.
because the money would come into their pocket either way. They chose to screw over all the workers that were willing to work because they chose to and now they made that decision because they just wanted to okay, cool, as long as it's green, we don't care. And now there's not enough workers because now they don't have those tax incentives or those tax write-offs because it's been like 2 years since those strikes, and, and now they're screwed, and they dug their own grave, and I hate to say it, I hope they burn.
Right.
like
Oh,
like
dude. Look, we've got a new giraffe in here, Gary Jr.
oh yeah,
Gary Jr. Yeah, I just followed him back. I wasn't following him.
oh
That's a new giraffe.
I gotta hit the button. I hit the button, guys. Hit the button. Hold on, we gotta hit the button. Yeah.
Welcome, Gary Jr. Welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wonder
Yeah.
if that's actually Gary Jr. Like, actually Gary's son. I
Or
wonder.
maybe Gary said he wants to live forever. Maybe he actually built an AI bot that took over and is now him, and that's actually Gary's AI clone. I don't know.
Stop it, Dunk. You watch too much Star Trek. Stop
I
it.
don't watch too.
Anyway,
There is
welcome, Gary Jr.
no such thing as watching too much Star Trek. You're
Yeah.
crazy.
Okay. I think I just proved my point, actually. Bearded, help me out. Help me out. Throw me a life raft here, Bearded.
Yeah, you did. You proved the point.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Bearded.
I could
Appreciate
do
it.
Star Wars. I don't do Trek. The Star Trek.
Star Wars, Star Wars is definitely less whatever Dunk is. I'm not going to put a label on it.
I just gotta,
Yeah.
I just gotta say, with Star Trek, people go like, "Oh, what's that thing they're carrying around? We should make a cell phone thing, computer that people could carry around so they could scan things." I got a tricorder in my hand right now. What did Star Wars give me? A light sword?
Yeah, sure. Okay. This is just a conversation I'm not prepared to have. But yeah, I will give you this,
It
just,
inspired a lot of nerds to
as
innovate.
a
That's what
as
I
a
say.
science guy,
Yeah.
I will say they did keep the science correct. I always refer to their, and they said the cobalt nuclear bomb. It's like, you know what? Cobalt would actually give the biggest nuclear yield. So, okay,
you
the
know,
science worked on that.
a lot of that stuff is just gibberish, like legitimate gibberish.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
I have
it's real though.
I have info. I have info on the identity of Gary Jr.
Oh, okay.
That Maui Nancy says that is their stacker group. So that is a
Oh yeah, Maui Nancy just sent that to me too. Gary
yeah,
Jr.
yeah,
is part of our group. Okay. All right.
part of the
Well,
stacker group. So that
there it is.
is Gary
Okay.
Jr. is in our stacker group. So now we know. Now we know. Welcome,
So
Gary
right
Jr.
on. Yeah, welcome Junior. Welcome. I just wanted to point it out because, it's a new person.
After we had a whole entire conspiracy about who you were, just had like whole conspiracy all on Joe's part.
I wouldn't say we. Don't pull me in on that. That was all you. That was all you. Don't pull me in to be a part of all that crap. Um, I am really, really ready for this stacker to
Mm-hmm.
get released, man. I don't know about you, but
I totally am.
Yeah,
I'm ready. I am ready. And the
yeah, man.
thing, like if I'm right, by the way, which I never am, so let's just assume
Let's
that I'm not, because I'm
I
never,
hope.
never right. But again, let's just say this one time I am, um, and like we are, like I said, at the beginning of a, turnaround, and we're gonna start, kind of go climbing the hill from here, dude. That means we're gonna have the stacker being released during
During the
the
bowl.
bull run. Like you couldn't ask for a better, like
Uh-huh.
the stars have aligned,
Yeah.
and
You don't want it dirt like at the beginning of a bear because then everything you're collecting, unless I guess you could be
well,
collecting
here's the
everything.
thing. Here's the thing. Especially, for the scalper, look, if you think about it, when you're scalp trading, it doesn't matter because you're
Well,
always just going
I mean,
for local
I
highs.
guess my
You're
point
going
would be if you put into stables after the thing, then it wouldn't matter anyway. You know what I mean?
right, right.
I'm
That's
just
true.
saying the prices of assets just keep on going down in a bear.
Yes,
But if
yes.
you stabilize it, it wouldn't matter. But there might just be less volume. That's all.
And also I think Gary is going to be immune. um we've been immune to like the macro shifts. We, even as Solana was going down, we held pretty firm. And that was still when we were, only on our Solana pair, before we were even with the on the USDC pair. So, if you remember, we were holding pretty damn steady around like, the low 20s, 21, 22 cents. And, Solana would just, free fall
We don't
and
see
we
as
would
many of the
stay
big
there.
pumps from Solana as well. So that's a good thing, though.
Yeah.
Like what would happen, in at least my observation, was Solana would pump. Somebody was holding Gary, and they see that Gary would pump as well. And
Mm-hmm.
the smart money like us would go and buy more Gary with it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Be like, oh, the price went up, let's buy more. And but then they'd be all like, oh, it went up, and it would be slightly more than the rise of Solana, and then they
Mm-hmm.
would sell, and they wouldn't understand slippage and bonding curves and how you're not necessarily, and depth of
Right.
liquidity.
Right.
And then they sell. They're like, oh, I took my profit, and then usually it's less than they think it is as well because of all those factors. And but if they just held Solana, that would be fine. But now that we have we're on mainly paired with USDC, we may not get that hit as much. So somebody's holding their Gary, they're going to see that, a little fluctuation that we've been seeing, between 25.5 and 26 cents, but
Yeah.
they'll see that. And, but they won't necessarily go, oh, Solana went up 20% today and it corrects again tomorrow, like whatever the pump might be. But they're not necessarily just going to sell because they don't see that pump related across those two coins as transparently anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
there's no correlation anymore.
a lot most people, I don't think they have the slightest idea about trading pairs. Like most people, I'm like, not I know there's us here that understand that, but most people in the world have no idea what a trading pair is. Like they have no idea what liquidity pools are. They don't understand that. Even people that are active here, I've asked this question before. I'm like, hey, when you buy Gary, where does it come from?
Right.
They blink at me like I'm crazy.
Right.
When you sell Gary, where does the Solana come from?
Yeah.
They blink at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, if you can't answer that, you need to go and rethink a few things and just go do a little research, because if you're here
So
and
yeah.
you got money in the game and you can't answer that simple question that I just asked, you need to take a long look in the mirror, like, and just and really really figure it out. This is again, this is not financial advice, this is life advice.
Yeah.
Stealing it
Yeah.
from you.
I agree. No, I agree. Yeah, you should definitely know the answers to those questions. And maybe one thing I could do a little bit better in here too is, maybe focusing a little bit more on like some educational stuff.
Everybody
Maybe
needs to be educated. That's good.
yeah, maybe kind of focus on that. Maybe do a slot where we talk about that. Like, hey, do you know where that Solana comes from when you sell Gary? Like, do you understand the mechanics of that? Um, that's that's a good thing because I think you're right. I think a lot of people probably don't know those mechanics and don't like just they I geek out on this stuff. Like I want
Oh,
to
me too.
know and you know like for me it's fun, but not everyone's like that. Not everyone wants to know, you know get into the weeds like that. So um but I do think there is a certain amount of like getting into the weeds that everyone should do. And maybe let me think about that a little bit. I'm gonna think about like some of the topics. I think, and again, it's not going to be like a 101 because I think everyone here's done, crypto 101. I think it can be a little bit more advanced. We don't need to go into like, hey, how to set up a wallet, but stuff like that, like what you were just saying right there, Dunk.
If
Like,
you need to set up a wallet, I got a video for that.
yeah,
We
right,
don't need to,
yeah,
like, I'm serious.
right.
That's not that's so easy. It like
But maybe we do
I was
maybe we
thinking
do
like
that.
wallet security
Wallet security, that's a good one too, Bearded. Um,
because you're holding very valuable assets in these wallets.
yeah, I like
Joe's
that.
wallet security is like, if you have a stacker, just send Joe your seed phrase. That's he'll keep it safe.
I'll keep it safe for you. Trust me, I'll keep it safe. Um, yeah, Bearded, I like that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put something together like that. Maybe we can kind of um sit down together and we can kind of like work up a little like curriculum for that. Something
And
we could go over
I'll
for
put
everyone.
if you're planning
Yeah,
on doing stuff, are you talking about doing it in the space or like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Arrange that where I could bring on guests and you guys can come on and we could actually talk about that in a group and actually, do it another platform as well. Just options. I say do it here too,
yeah.
but
What were you saying,
Both.
Bearded?
I was saying both. The more, the better. And then I was
uh-huh.
gonna say that's what kind of like what me and Larry try to do in our spaces is just educate anybody that has questions in kind of more layman's terms.
Okay.
'Cause I know a
Okay.
lot of people need help. I've helped a lot of people
Yeah.
that just don't really, I haven't been into crypto very long. Like even Adam, he has no idea how to use the stacker. So we're gonna have a wallet where we both have the seed phrases,
Okay.
and then
You could do a multi-sig
I'm
as well.
running it for him. We could do that, yeah. But I mean, we're family.
If it's
I'm his
just the two
uncle.
of you, yeah, and
Yeah.
you're his uncle, like that's fine. You both just have the seed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Bearded, maybe like that's what I'm saying. Like maybe the three of us we could kind of come up with a little curriculum, especially if it's something you and Larry have already been doing. You could kind of help us mold something, like, hey, what are the common questions you guys are getting? Um, because and I do think security needs to be a big part of this again because everyone in this room, I'm sure, I'm pretty sure at least everyone in here is a giraffe or has a giraffe. Um, Trash, um, Nipsey, and OG Gamer. You guys aren't wearing giraffes, but I'm I think you guys have giraffes. I've
And if
seen
you
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 in
don't
here.
have one, there are raffles going on right now. Just saying that might be a chance to go grab one for $1.50 or two. What I forget what JJ's is. It's a little bit cheap. It's like $1, right?
Something like that.
I think
Yeah.
mine's like a
Yeah.
buck 50. But
And I think his is like 50 cents. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, just there's
so the
opportunities
thing
everywhere.
is y- so the thing is, everyone in here is going to that being said, before Dunk rudely interrupted me,
What? Please,
everyone
what did you
in
say, Joe?
here,
What?
oh my God, everyone in here is going to have a very valuable asset in their wallet. Very, very valuable. And people are going to, like, we're going to have targets on our back. That is, as Stacker comes out and starts like printing and
Stacking.
people are going to, yeah, as Stacker starts stacking, people are going to take notice of that. And we really are, we're going to be, giraffes with big targets, and people will come after us. People will try to scam, and it is going to break my heart if I hear somebody losing a giraffe to, some asshole scammer. It will break my heart. Um,
It's happened before, even when they didn't have this amazing utility.
r-
So
right.
like there's scammers out there no matter what. They will destroy your life for $1. I'm not
Yep.
kidding. So
Yep.
don't think they have zero morals. So do not get like
Mm,
if anybody asks you for your seed phrase, I'll tell you this right now. They are scamming you. There is not one person, not one entity on this entire ecosystem anywhere that will ever ask you for your seed phrase. If they are asking you for that, they are scamming you. No exception.
yeah. So, but even beyond that type of stuff, Dunk, I think everyone in here gets that. I think everyone in here knows not
You
to
think
share a seed
no,
phrase.
you'd think that.
But
I'm just saying it out loud because you think that, but it's not, that's not as obvious as you think.
sure, sure, that's true. Um,
That it could just be as simple, sorry, as being
please.
connected to an app on Phantom
Yep.
that gets hacked.
Disconnect all your
That's what
apps.
I'm always saying. That's why I'm always like, that's one I'm always preaching. Make sure you're disconnected. Do your business and then disconnect.
And one thing that I do is I have one browser that I only use for crypto stuff, and it's not my default browser on my computer. Like that way,
Same
I
thing.
I don't
Yep.
like that's it. That browser is just for my crypto stuff, and that's all I use it for.
Yep.
And everything else is through another one which has zero Web3 connected. Zero. So
Okay.
that's what I do because I'm paranoid
Yeah,
as
where I have,
Hmm.
fuck.
I'm paranoid too. Where I have all my giraffe, I've never purchased anything in that wallet.
There you
So
go.
I only send stuff to that wallet.
There you go. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Yeah. So I pretty much the same. Um, you know, uh, I try to keep my, so like the wallet that I have like my locked Gary in the wallets that I have my like giraffe in, I try to keep those wallets like pretty as much as possible like non-active, like I'm not going to go do like a max extract. You know what I mean? I'm not going to try to go trade on GMGN or something with that wallet. I'm not fudding GMGN, but I'm just saying, like,
You
you
never
know,
know what will happen
why?
on their
Yeah,
end. You don't
yeah,
know
right.
what
I don't
compromise
know.
could happen.
Yeah,
There's big
Yep.
entities that get compromised all the time.
dude, there's teams of hackers right now. There's right this very second, guys. There are teams of hackers in North Korea, and they're showing up there for like it's work, like for work, where they are just trying to crack people's seed phrase. And that's why North Korea is like the third largest holder of Bitcoin. You know, like it's part of their military intelligence there. So they're, and I'm sure they've got some kind of automation. I'm sure they've got AI working on it, and plus it's like it's public knowledge now. Um, if you know where to look, you can find this on the web where the words that were originally used for seed phrases for MetaMask have, like, that's out circulating. So like all the words that were used have like been exposed. Now I'm sure they've
I'm
tightened
not
up
on
security
MetaMask at
since.
all anymore. I don't even use MetaMask anymore.
Yeah, I don't use MetaMask anymore either. But
Well,
but again, I'm
oh,
just
okay.
saying, this stuff is out there, guys. Like there,
Hmm.
and I don't know if like people realize that, but there are even state actors, putting state resources into it, and that's a lot, man. Like, that's a lot, and we just need to be really, really safe. Um, Again, you never know if you're on GMGN or you're on Photon, and then you're connected, they get hacked. Well, now there's a backdoor into your wallet, and somebody could potentially start stealing your assets. So, um, it's just like I said, it would just break my heart, because as we get louder and as we attract more attention, people are going to come after us. Anyway, what's up, big boy?
Hey, bud. What's happening?
Same old, same old.
Yeah, I
Giraffe
got
in
a
it.
quick yeah, I got a quick story that happened the other night, and the same thing we're talking about. I've only been in it about 3 months or so. Beard has helped me through most of it, but I know I need to get like a one of those one of those little things, vaults
Ledger.
or
Like a
whatever.
ledger.
Yeah, ledger. That's what
Yeah.
I was trying to think of.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, and get it in. But the other night I went on there. And you know how it's got on mine? It has four little squares at the bottom, and you click on it. That's your NFTs.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
mine was gone. It was gone. It wasn't there, and I started tripping out, and
Oh,
didn't know how to nothing. I had no NFTs on there, but
oh
I don't
shit.
know what happened. Yeah. I started sweating bullets, man. I mean, I was sweating and fixing to go throw up. To be honest.
Yeah, right.
I felt that sickening feeling. It was coming. It was coming. And then I looked up above after about 5 minutes. I looked up there at the top. I don't know why it would change on me, but it said tokens, and then it said memorabilia or collectibles or something. And then I
Mm-hmm.
clicked on collectibles, and then there they were. Oh my gosh! Then my heart started beating back.
Oh man, how scary.
Unbelievable. You ain't
Yeah,
kidding. After y'all been
Yeah,
talking about it for a while now, and I know Beard said something about having in a safe thing or whatnot, but yeah, I got to get that done.
yeah,
I don't like the
yeah. No,
idea of that.
you need to, so like the thing with a ledger too, that like this is the great thing about a ledger, because like you need to have that physical, you need to have that physical fob like with you. It needs to be able. I'm someone's looping back in. Hey, Trailblazer, can you mute for a sec? You need to have that physical piece with you, otherwise like nothing can happen, no transaction can happen. So even if somebody did, like let's just say, that thing I was talking about, like where there's the North Koreans where they're trying to get seed phrases, even if somebody cracked your seed phrase, they still wouldn't be able to move your assets out of your wallet without that physical fob, you know.
I
So
see.
that's like it's the ultimate protection. I use Ledger. I have a Ledger. In fact, I have like an extra Ledger, like just in case
Oh yeah,
I need,
yeah.
because it's just really good to it's so good to have that. Um, you don't want. you just don't want this stuff to be, you make it hard, make it impossible, or as
Yeah, I know, right?
close to impossible as you can get. Because what I'm really afraid of, man, is as we start getting really loud and we start, getting noticed, and we become a target because, hey, these guys are making a lot of money. These wallets are printing. They've got this AI technology that's printing for them. Like, we are 100% going to be attracting attacks, and they're gonna come. So, like, you in your wallet is gonna be one of them. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
and I'm saying that to everyone in this room. So, like, we all need to be ready for that, because it is going to happen, and we just need to make sure that we protect ourselves, that we look at what we're signing. We don't just rush through and just sign anything. We've just got to be very conscientious with everything.
yeah.
I just had something you guys are saying about MetaMask. I was going to say, yeah, I don't think anybody should use it. My buddy was swapping just like $50 on it yesterday, and like before the swap even came back, he just thought the swap never finished. But then I was looking at it on Etherscan for him, and like as soon as it came through, the $50 just got sent to another wallet on MetaMask, and they were just like, "Oh, you sent it to the wrong wallet." And he was like, "I didn't send it anywhere. I just swapped it."
Oh
And then
man.
boom, it was gone into another wallet that I tracked it to.
No
So
accountability.
don't use MetaMask.
Oh, wow. That sucks, man. Sucks. Well, I don't want to see, I don't want to see any of that happen to anyone in here. I don't want a giraffe to get stolen. um or even, like, even if they don't get your giraffe, they don't get your stacker agent, I don't want them to get your gains. Like, we've all been in here, been very patient, waiting for this to come along, and you start printing, and then you lose everything that you gained. That, oh man,
Yeah,
again, heartbreaking.
yeah. That happened to Larry the one time, and then he had to take a break. We didn't see him for like 3 weeks. And
Oh,
then I know Adrian got hacked through Bolex. He got
yeah,
about $1,500 stolen.
yeah. Adrian got it through Bolex. Yeah. Well, and one thing, so guys, like, what would be a very good thing, since the interface for Stacker is going to be on Telegram? You guys should get used to using, like, even if you're just go, like, you know, do it with like 10 cents worth of Solana. Go open a trade up and close a trade on GMGN using on Telegram, because that's where the Stacker interface is going to be. So you should get
Yeah, there's
um
not going to be a web UI yet.
yeah, right. There won't be any kind of UI yet. So, like, just get used to that, get used to operating like that. But more importantly too, like, you know you need to know the signs of a hacker. Like, um you Trailblazer. Yo, Trailblazer. Oh man. There you go. So what you can do, like, what I want you guys to be able to do is, like, recognize in Telegram when there's scams. Because, like, say you ask for help from GMGN, what will end up happening is you'll get, like, people DMing you saying, like, "Oh,
Yep.
hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to
Fake
help you."
customer service, and their accounts will
That,
look real.
and they'll look perfect. They'll look identical to, like the GMGN, like support. So I want you guys to see that, and like, know that, and like, that happens. That will happen. And
There won't
you
be
know
anybody reaching out to you like that from like
exact yeah.
none. No, like we don't got enough time for that. Sorry, like
Yeah,
be that attentive.
people are not exactly. And so like, but it happens, when you ask for help, I don't even know, like, again, I don't know how they're able to like get it or how they're able to see it. Maybe somebody who's like actually working there feeds somebody this information. I don't know how it works, but you know, somehow they know you asked for help, and now
I
you've
always
got
assume that they're
somebody.
just watching the feed and like in the chat, and the
Right,
second that you
right.
ask a
That's
question, they DM you
then
because
they
they're just
just DM.
their
Yeah,
their their job is just literally to sit there
just
and look
watch
for
the
people to
feed.
scam.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
nowadays, I bet you don't have to even have an eye on it. You probably have. There's probably a bot that immediately starts a chat, like AI bot
right,
that monitoring
right.
it. That just goes, oh, these people are cool,
They
and then
asked for help. This
they ask
person
for
asked
help.
for help.
This
Yep,
person asks for help, and it's just like the next, agent or whatever you want to call them in their call
yep,
center
yep,
or scam center. It just gets sent to that person. It's like
yep.
scamming is a business and a profitable one.
Oh, and they run it like a business. Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. Well, so I just suggest everyone, does that. Like they should go on, you guys should go on Telegram and, you use Bullx or, excuse me, I'm getting a little allergy attack. You use all that stuff and, get used to operating, operating on Telegram.
Hmm. Exactly. But I honestly feel like from what Gary said that it's going to be even a better Telegram UI than even what GMGN has. It's pretty simple.
Right,
Yeah.
right. GMG, I mean, it's not too difficult to
Yeah. Yeah.
operate.
Yeah. So but you can't really give it too much data or anything.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. Not much wiggle room, I guess. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I don't think what it sounds like too is it just sounds like you just need to basically set a couple parameters and press go. Um, I don't think it's all that complicated from what it sounds like. So, you put in, it's almost like kind of just setting preferences, do you want to risk up to 50% or 30%? It's going to be like setting preferences. That's what it sounds like. So, but I just want everyone to be like used to that, you guys to like know what that looks like and what it feels like. So, do go do a couple like Telegram trades or try to like run one of those Telegram bots or something just to get familiar with what it looks like and then you'll know like, oh, okay, this is what this interface feels like, and it's a little cluttered. I don't like it, to be honest with you guys. Like I don't like um the Telegram setup with GMGN. It's hard for me to follow it all. Again, I think there could be a much better UI, but this is what it is. This is what we're starting with, so just be prepared for it.
Yeah, so like when like if it's in a ledger and then we go to docs it at some point whenever we get the agent or whatnot and it starts
Uh-huh.
running, where does it go? Where is the actual NFT going? Is it leaving your ledger going to a Gary's program or something he's got set up? Where's it go to?
So I'm not sure I follow your question there. Like, where does what go?
He's
Well,
asking
when you
if
doc,
the NFT is in your wallet or if it has to leave your wallet and go into the
yeah,
custodial wallet.
correct.
Oh, no, it just stays in
Because
your wallet. It'll
well, I didn't
just,
know. Maybe
Because
a
yeah.
he
stupid question, but not
how
really.
I don't think that Gary's made it 100% clear on how that's going to work yet. Is the
Oh,
answer?
okay, gotcha.
But I know in the
Yeah, that's fine.
past, like when we had social connector, the old social connector system that he had set up, we were able to connect our wallets to that, and there was also like you would be able to
Yeah,
connect. So he may do that same exact system, or
right.
he
It just
may.
would be like token gated. You know, your NFTs, your
Well,
token in.
yeah, but the question is, could you have your own wallet and connect your external wallet to give access? Is that the correct question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
And
Okay.
again, as far as I've heard, Gary hasn't given a 100% answer on that yet.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm just saying the tech has been here in the past where we would connect we used that it was actually how we would like the ETH one. We had an ETH connection and a Solana connection, and then we also had like Twitter and and Instagram as well. So there were all those different connections that you used to be able to do. So I know that he has the tech to integrate with those different platforms already, and Clubhouse
Right.
Oh,
back
I
then.
sure,
th-
sure.
I feel like it would be something like that
Hmm.
rather than you like dropping the NFT. You know, it would almost be like a staking contract
Hmm.
rather than you know what I mean. So
Or
m-
if
maybe
you
there's
would, if
something
it
like
leaves
that. But
it
again,
leaves
I
the
don't know.
connected
I don't
wallet,
know.
then you just lose access. But yeah, again, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I mean, Gary hasn't told us yet, but I know in the past we have had that. So I imagine if it's not that at the very beginning, like the first wave, like maybe when the stackers are testing it, we have to put it in the custodial wallet, maybe. But he also did say that your people are going to be able to use multi-sig wallets, which that would lead me down the path to believe that we're going to be able to connect a wallet. But again, I don't know.
So he has made it clear.
He has made it clear.
Yeah. So the NFT, the stacker is leaving your wallet.
That's what yeah.
Yeah, so he made that clear. He even said that in at the earlier this space that the NFT will be leaving your wallet and going to the stacker wallet, the custodial wallet. Like you have to deposit that. Same thing with
Hmm.
your giraffe. You have to deposit. You have to send over, leave your wallet, the one giraffe, and everyone's house again. Um, so he's made that pretty clear. And again,
Hmm.
that's what we were talking about earlier today, like it leaving the multi-sig wallet. Like he said, like yeah, it can leave the multi-sig wallet, but and then we had the conversation there. But no, the asset won't be leaving your wallet and going. You'll be depositing it um
Into the custodial wallet.
to the tech so it can be unlocked. Yep.
Okay. Well, there you go, big boy. Thank you,
Sounds
JJ.
good. I thought I heard something about that. I wasn't sure, but I got somebody. I got somebody that's gonna help me anyway. We get it dialed in. So I
Nice.
appreciate
Okay.
it. I appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Right on, big boy. Big bye. All right, cool. Right on. Trailblazer, did you have anything? I didn't know if you were trying to talk earlier or if you were just hot mic'd or what was up.
No, it was more so when you guys were talking about MetaMask. And I was just like, yeah. And then you guys were talking about China, like having seed phrases. So I was like, I wonder if that's what happened to my buddy. So I was like, yeah, don't use it if you were thinking
I,
about it.
there's one guy that I know that this happened. This actually was pretty recent, by the way. It was like, um, shit, maybe just like 6 weeks ago. Guy reached out to me and was like, dude, all my assets are gone. Everything's gone. And it was a MetaMask. And he had, probably 130 grand worth of tokens in there. And he's like, look, if you know anyone who can help me, I'll, tell him I'll give him a bounty. I'll do a $40,000 bounty. It's like, holy shit, this is serious. So, and again, this is a guy who's very well versed in Web3. He doesn't make rookie mistakes. Um, I don't know how, like, what happened. The only thing I could come up with is, he might have been victim to somebody. Like, again, people can look wallets up. It's all on chain, right? So you can look any wallet up, and one thing I know these hackers will do is, they'll target big wallets. his was a big wallet. He had, a lot of money in there. And I think they probably targeted his wallet and they figured out the seed phrase somehow and got in and just took all his stuff. That's the only thing I can come up with that happened to him because you know, he played everything safe. He wasn't connected to anything. It's just it was just gone. So, you know, the only way that could happen is with a seed phrase. So, that's out there. Um it's crazy. It's totally crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else you can do. With that one, that's like you can't like I don't even know how you guard against that one. Well, the way you guard against that one actually is
Ledger.
yeah, you have a ledger. You have a ledger because then, it can't move without the physical stick. Um, but shit, man, that's crazy, I oh man, yeah, he reached out to me. I could not believe that happened. Um, you can also spread things across multiple wallets. You know, I try to not have um, too much in any one wallet. Again, like you don't want to build a wallet up with like this wallet has, everything you own in it. And then you have like other wallets that don't do anything. Like, no, you should spread that out. Um, just in the event you do click a bad link or something so you don't lose it all. So that's another way I protect myself is I spread things out over a bunch of wallets. I have a lot of wallets, and it's just safer that way. So like even if I did get compromised on one of my wallets, it would suck and I would be sick to my stomach, but they wouldn't be able to get me for everything I had, you know. So I think that's another really safe, like kind of best practice. I'm sure you do the same thing too, Dunk, don't you?
Oh yeah, I'm like a klepto with wallets. I like ooh, got a lot.
Yeah. Okay. I figured,
Yeah.
because like I'm the same. Like I
I
I have a lot of wallets.
I have an
Like
insane amount of wallets. Like and the
no.
best the best part is like when I'm like doing some like random degen thing in one wallet, and then I'm like, oh, I'll come back to this later, and then like you say, your goldfish brain, you're like, well, and then I come
Yep.
back to a wallet, I'm like, dude, I got $1,000 in there,
Right.
and you're like,
Yeah.
oh god,
Totally.
I'm like, cool, I'm
Like
like,
oh
wow,
shit, that
I
thing
forgot,
that
I
was a
forgot about
good
that.
that was a good buy.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And I go like,
I've had a couple of those. Yeah. Mm,
for
like holy shit. Oh man, that's funny. That is funny. Well, let's wrap it up here, guys.
mm,
Another good day. I think tomorrow is going to be a great day. By the
mm-hmm.
way, I'm hoping we get a rate decrease because that is just going to make us pop. We are going to pop, and you know what? We'll know right as we meet because that's when the announcement is. So
And
I will see you guys tomorrow, and we'll know.
either way, we're all winning. Like whether they do the rate decrease or anything, like yep, we are going to print either way. So
Either way, yeah, we're gonna win. Giraffes on
either
top, no
way,
matter what.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Like we're just good. Like honestly, like I was just thinking, like let's keep things cheaper until Stacker launches, so we could we could
right.
stack up more stuff
Let's push it
before.
off.
Yeah, well,
We don't want this thing to start sending until Stacker launches. Dude, no,
exactly.
I really do, bro. If you look at it, bro, if you look at the timeline of like if you're following the last two cycles, from like the halving of Bitcoin to where the the all-time highs were, that's basically like gonna fall somewhere in like December, like November, December. So I mean, I think we're in a perfect, like, just the bowling pins are just being lined up for us, man. We're just gonna knock them down. We've got
Mm-hmm.
all that momentum, that just go on crypto Twitter, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
go look around. You can see it all. You can see all of this like built up pressure. People cannot wait to get out and like spend money in a bowl. They
Yep.
really can't wait. Like you can see people are ready. So it like once this spring springs, oh my god. Oh my god. It's gonna just be on jet fuel. So
Yep. I 100% agree.
I can't wait. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll do it again. Same place, same time.